there are many opportunities that are still available as it relates to government contracting. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. All right, so today I kind of want to go through some of the opportunities that are available for small business owners. You guys know that I teach government contracting. I teach how business owners can grow and scale their business by securing government contracts. And I understand that there's a lot going on right now, guys. I know that there's a lot going on, and I know there's a lot of folks that are concerned. I've talked to my students, I've talked to my mentees, all right, and I understand that there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of, I guess, fear that's going around. But I want to just share with you guys today, just for a few minutes, that there are many opportunities that are still available as it relates to government contracting. And I know a lot of folks are being fearful as it relates to federal contracting, but guys, the government is not going to stop buying goods and services, right? They're not going to stop buying goods and services. And so if you are already a government contractor, please do not get concerned, because the government still is the largest buyer of goods and services in the entire world. And that's not going to happen overnight, right? They're not going to just stop buying, all right? They're always going to have to buy. And small business owners, just like you, are benefiting, all right, from these contracts. So again, there are a lot of concerns around DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. All right. And so it has been said that the set-asides are going to go away. All right. That's the women-owned business certifications, the 8A, the hub zones. All right. Those certifications may go away. But what I want you guys to understand that, when one door closes, another door opens. And if you guys can understand that, all right, opportunities are always out there. All right. We just have to make sure that we're positioned in a way to be able to benefit from opportunities. All right. And so, you have to think about, how many folks, especially my students, we kind of had a conversation on Sunday, and we looked at the group and we said, how many of you guys actually won contracts because you were a woman-owned business, all right, or a veteran-owned business, all right? And when we looked at it, the percentage of the wins was very, very small, all right, less than 1%, all right? But when we looked at how many folks were winning contracts because they were a small business, all right, that was 99% of them. All right, so guys, when one door closes, right, if you look at it that way, because some folks are looking at it that the door is closing and I don't have these opportunities anymore. All right, and a lot of people also are looking at it that things are changing. All right, things are changing. And I would submit that things are changing, but there's always opportunity in every single situation. All right. We just have to be positioned and be ready in order to capitalize off of those opportunities. So what I wanted to do today is kind of just go through one of the sites that's in my state, and I'm in Georgia, whereby there's still opportunities. All right. In Georgia, we've got Team Georgia, right? Marketplace. All right. And so I'm going to share my screen for a second. All right. Not for the Team Georgia Marketplace site, but we're going to look at some solicitations that are state and or local that you guys can continue to benefit from. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen. All right. So if you guys are not familiar with FSCM Teamwork Georgia, government.gov. I'm going to introduce you guys to this site, and I want you guys to make sure you guys stay with me until the end. And I don't know if you guys are new to my channel, and or if you guys are viewing this video in my school community, Live Your Best Life, doing what you love, and you guys are interested in the government contracting category, right? There's opportunities, and I kind of want to show you guys some of those opportunities so that you guys don't get discouraged, and you can kind of see how easy it is to win opportunities. Again, the U.S. government is the largest buyer of goods and services in the entire world. All right, they buy everything. They buy things like cups, batteries, tires, boats, paper, computers. All right, they buy everything that you can think of. So it doesn't matter, regardless of what niche you're in, there's opportunities for you. So we're going to look at this particular site today, and it is February the 17th, so that you guys can see how many opportunities are there. We're just going to look at them one by one. I don't know if we'll go through all of them, but if you look, there's 30 bidding opportunities. All right, 30 bidding opportunities. So we're going to open this up, and hopefully you guys can see my screen. All right, so we're going to talk about how you can still win with government contracting. And you guys might be asking, well, why do I even want to deal with this government contract thing, right? You got big folks dealing with government contracts, right? You got Elon Musk, he's going after government contracts, and he's winning billions and billions of dollars of contracts, right? And so all right, when we have to follow the money. All right, when people are so concerned with, these contracts, all right, then we have to ask ourselves, why are they concerned with contracts? Because there are opportunities for a small business owner to create financial freedom. All right, one contract, guys, could be life-changing for you and your business and your family. So that's why it's important, right? That's why it's important. You guys know, I don't know if you guys watch my video on why you should start a business, and you should start a business today, all right? Because we want to make sure we're always positioning ourselves, all right, to be in the best place in order to win. And so individuals are losing their jobs. All right, you guys know that. Federal workers who thought that they were safe, right? Because typically when you get a federal job, unless you just do crazy stuff, all right, you're able to, keep that job for your entire life. You're able to retire. All right. A lot of folks that were in the military, once they left the military, they went into the federal sector because they were able to take the time that they spent in the military and then go into the federal sector, all right, and use both those times to be able to retire early. All right, so meaning they would be able to use their military years, just say they did 10 years in the military, and then they were able to take the time in the federal space so that they could retire. And oftentimes, those positions, again, you could stay in those positions, for 20 years, 25 years, right? But now that is changing. There's a lot of federal workers that are losing their jobs, all right? And there's a lot of uncertainty. But what I want you guys to understand that, the federal agencies are being shaken up, all right? But the government is still going to continue to buy, all right? And when I say government, we're talking about the local, state, and federal government, all right? There's still opportunities for individuals to win contracts. I want to let me see if I can go back to Sam, all right? All right, so I was looking at Sam, all right? So I don't know, you guys, if you guys watch my video, how to make $24,000 using Sam. Right, this is Sam, and you don't have to have an account in order to be able to go after to view SAM opportunities. All right, but you do have to be registered in order to log in and to bid on a contract in SAM. All right, so with that being said, we're just going to look at SAM. So SAM is not closed down, and I picked a set aside, and the set aside that I picked was 8A. All right, so there's still opportunities today for 8A businesses, and you guys can see it's 198 opportunities, all right, for 8A. All right, and some of these were updated on the 14th, which is a couple of days ago, right? But there's still opportunities for 8A businesses, and of course, it tells you when the response is due. All right, but what we're hearing, all right, is that these set-asides are going away. All right, but again, when I talk to my students, I ask my students, how many of you guys actually won a contract because you were a set-aside? And it was only 1% of my team. All right, most of my members, all right, or my team, my business owners, they either won local, state contracts. They also won federal contracts, but they won those contracts because they were a small business, not because they were a woman-owned business or set aside. And like I said, it was only less than 1% of those folks that actually won contracts because of the set aside designation. So what I'm saying, guys, is that there's still opportunities for small businesses to win with government contracting. And again, the reason it's of concern to us is because with one contract could be a 6-figure or 7-figure contract, which certainly that kind of contract could help to stabilize your revenue and also help you to create generational wealth. All right, especially if you get a contract that's, a 1-year or 3-year or even a 5-year contract, right? So this is sam.gov. It's not closed, all right? It's still open. And then let's see, we're gonna click out of here, and we're just gonna go and we're gonna look at, let's see, we're gonna put in, I don't know, let's put in painting. Okay, so we put in the word painting, and what we see is there's 132 opportunities for painting. All right, so there's opportunities out there. All right, this is a federal site, SAM. It's not shut down, it's not closed, it's still open. All right, so if you guys are painters, if you guys are in the construction arena, all right, there's opportunities for you to grow and scale. All right, let's put in, I don't know, let's just put in, project management. All right, so project management, program management, project management, there's 154 results for project management. All right, there's still opportunities for training, all right, and student support, all right, training and testing for fire life safety maintenance. All right, there's opportunities here. So guys, understand that. And if you don't understand, if you've been in business, right, you understand that nothing stays the same. All right, I've been in business for 33 years, and so I've seen changes after changes after changes. Some of the changes are for the better, and some of the changes are for the worse. But what I know, that as a business owner, I have to be able to pivot. I have to be able to take and look at the changes and figure out, how do I benefit from the changes that are occurring in my industry and my niche? And sometimes, guys, because I'm in energy management, all right, so clean energy, solar panels, lighting retrofit, EV charging station, right? So that's where I hang out. So, sometimes even I've talked to many of my students, it may be an opportunity for you to pivot. All right. You may be in an arena, and the arena for the time being may be narrowing or maybe getting smaller, but that's okay because you understand government contracting, and so you're able to pivot. You're able to change and go into an arena, like maybe AI, maybe like something that's in construction or energy management. You may be wanting to pivot into something that relates to SpaceX or exploration, or you may be interested in pivoting into something that may have something to do with immigrations. All right, but you have to look for the opportunities. All right, and I'm just looking here. This is training support services. This one is with the Homeland Security. So there's opportunities that still exist, guys. So don't get discouraged, but we're going to jump back here to, I wanted to show you guys this website. So regardless of what state you're in, there's always still going to be a website similar to this one. This one is in Georgia. All right. And so what that says is this is just like a bidding website where you can put your bid in, and you can see if you're in the lead because of your rate or your quote, and it tells you how many hours you have before this particular bid closes. So this first one, guys, it's for a sole brand ADEC purchase and installation, and it's for Central Georgia Tech College. All right. And so this particular bidding opportunity, it closes in 20 hours. So it's actually going to close, today is the 17th, it's going to close on the 18th. And so you have an opportunity to click on this solicitation. All right, read the solicitation and find out exactly what Central Georgia, Texas want, and then you are able to put your bid in. So again, we understood when we first opened up this site, if you guys are just now joining me, before we get too deep into this, I do want you guys to like this video. All right. If you're watching from school, all right, the school community, I want you guys to put in the comments that there are opportunities. All right. There are opportunities. All right. So I want you guys to understand that there's opportunities. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which state you're in. All right. You may not be in Georgia, but that's okay. All right. There's still sites just like this one that are out there that you can bid on. So if you're kind of scared about the federal, which you shouldn't be, you need to understand that there's also local and state opportunities that are out there. All right, so if we just continue to look at these bidding opportunities, you've got, if you're in the medical area, all right, you've got some medical bidding opportunities, and this is at Georgia Piedmont Technical College. You've got opportunities at the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. All right, they're looking for some radar equipment. You've got opportunities at the Department of Public Health. All right, so if you're in the medical arena, all right, and you understand how to handle biohazardous waste collection and disposal, there's opportunities out there. All right, at the Department of Corrections, they're looking for metal sheets. All right, so if you're in construction, you may be a welder. All right, there's opportunities here. And what I always like to do is, I probably wouldn't for sure look at these opportunities here because the time for them to close is too near. 20 hours is not long enough for me to take my time and accurately review the contract and opportunity to see if it's something that I can do, right? Because I always really like giving myself at least 12 days. I personally like 12 days because it allows me to look at the opportunity, not be rushed, be able to analyze what's requested, be able to find my sourcing a supplier, and be able to possibly research if it's a new bidding opportunity, or if it's been bidded in the past, to get a little research on kind of what price I should put on it. But even if something is 10 days, that's still really enough time, especially if it's something that you know and you're able to do. It's enough time for you to bid on it. So there's a renovation. So for those people that are in construction, so Southern Regional Technical College, they have a renovation bidding opportunities. Here's another one for those folks that are in the janitorial niche, right? There's opportunities. Folks that are in the HVAC, there's opportunities, right? If you guys are into traffic monitoring program data with the Department of Transportation, all right, DOT, you've got, again, another waste disposal service. So when I'm looking at these opportunities, I kind of start looking at what is being bought over and over and over again. What services do I continually see over and over again, right? And then I also look at which agencies are buying these goods and services. All right, so we've looked at a lot of them. Some of these are different. Some of these are colleges. For folks that are in the insurance, all right, we've got the Georgia Access for Business. We've got golf course fertilizer. Like, that's an easy one. All right. You've got vehicle leasing. So if you have contacts, with, automobile and or leasing of vehicles, this is a great one. You've got a contract with that's going to analyze drinking water. All right. So if you guys are in the scientific niche or arena, that's a great one. You've got a roof. So all of the roofers, right? This technical college, they're going to replace the roof, and you got 24 days to be able to do this. You've got, a replacement of a boiler, all right, at Wright Health Center, all right. And then you've got renovation respiratory care, all right, and that's down in Chattahoochee Tech College. You've got court reporting services, right, with the Secretary of State. All right, so as you can see, guys, there's tons of opportunities, and more opportunities is gonna come on this list tomorrow, and some of these are gonna fall off tomorrow. All right, but please, guys, don't get discouraged. I think before this week is out, we'll also go into DIBS. I don't know if you guys are familiar with DIBS, DLA, but DLA is a website that many of my students use in order to supply products to DOT. So DOT, actually, of course, the Department of Defense, they are one of the largest, if not the largest agency. I think they are the largest agency. All right, and with under the DOD, you've got the Air Force, Army, or the Navy, Marines. All right, and then you've got other entities that fall up under DOT aside from those main categories. But they buy things like tires, boats, paints. And when I say boats, I mean boats that go on a car that you use a wrench for. They buy, tarps. They buy medical supplies, especially if it's at the Department of Veteran Affairs. They buy masks. They buy sanitizing, hand sanitizing. They buy Lysol. They buy everything. So we'll probably look at DIBS as well, DLA, so you guys can understand that the opportunities are still there. You just have to stop getting, frustrated. because a lot of fear is going around, but there's opportunities for small businesses to grow and scale with government contracting. And so again, regardless of what state you're in, all right, you can still Google and you can look for bidding opportunities just like this one. And again, this one is Team Georgia, and this is for the state of Georgia. All right, so there's opportunities out there. All right, let's see if I can click back off of here and stop sharing my screen. Hopefully I can. All right, hopefully I have stopped sharing. Let's see, stop sharing. All right, so if you guys found that this video was helpful, I want you guys to give it a thumbs up. I want you guys to subscribe to the channel, right? Because when you guys subscribe to the channel and you guys let me know what your concerns are, what you're looking for as it relates to government contracting. I actually had a student in my school program, and you guys know, or if you don't know, join our school community, school, SKOOL. All right, we've got a free community. It's called Live Your Best Life Collective. And in that community, I have a category for government contractors. I have a category for folks that want to be coaches. All right, I have a category for business owners that need assistance with automation, all right, and technology. All right, and so if you are watching this again from Zoom, join our community, all right? Because it's a free community where we work together, we network. And again, like I was saying, I had a student that says, hey, I am interested in DLA, all right? I can't figure it out, and I need some help. So I know this week I'm gonna try my hardest to make a video about DLA and DIBS, right? Understand, guys, that success is a system, government contracting is a system as well. And it's important that you surround yourself by folks that are trying to do what you're trying to do, and that's what to grow and scale. All right, you want to surround yourself with A players, all right? You don't want to be the sharpest knife in the drawer, all right? So join our community. All right, I'll leave a link in the comments below. All right, if you guys have any questions, if you guys want me to go over anything that relates to growing and scaling your business, starting a business, being a coach, how to automate your business, government contracting, all right, reach out to me, and I'll leave a link also so that you guys can be able to click that link and schedule, time to be able to have a one-on-one with me. Because truly, guys, it's time for us to win. And you can't win if you continue to do the same thing that you're doing. You just have to decide that you want better, all right? That you want better. And in order to have better, you have to do better, all right? So again, I didn't want to make this too long, but I wanted to make sure I covered the things that I needed to cover today. All right, so again, this is your girl, Dr. Melissa J. Williams. Live your best life doing what you love. Guys, you only have one life. So I want you guys to live it to its fullest, all right? And how can you do that? All right, some of the things that small business owners we stress about, we can get rid of those things. Why and how? By working smarter versus harder. All right, so again, live your best life doing what you love. All right, stay healthy, happy, and God bless. I'll see you guys in the next lesson and/or video. Bye for now.